Deuteronomy 28:37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. A nation unknown. Tribulation worketh patience. In the spiritual oasis found something sacred. The road of life, the Ruach, that's my navigation. Receive the crown of life, final destination. Constant prayer brings constant elevation. Rejoice in hope, sometimes the only way to cope. Throwing haymakers with your back against the ropes. We all fall short, but some come close. Got these devils salivating, wanna prey on our fall. Don't fabricate in these songs, decapitating these zombies and bring them back to the morgue. Got it even a score. Last night I read a verse that captivated my soul. Romans 8:28, a little something about purpose. Never bend, never break when the enemy's lurking. Every message is urgent, packing heat like a furnace. Your grace was needed, but I never deserved it, and none of us do. Keep it humble and true. What's faith without works? Gotta bear those fruits. It's even now and never. Revelation for a nation unknown. The devastation got us pacing, but we breaking the mold. Look what we facing. Lord have mercy on our souls. It's even now and never. Revelation for a nation unknown. They call our nation unknown. Blessed is the man that endures temptation. Lady in red dress, seduction is her nature. She done drained many men and lured them to Satan. It's the whore of Babylon. I just watch her Babylon. She's confused, pushing all these views. I am not amused. She be selling brothers' dreams, got a devilish scheme. She promised them the world, turn rappers to fiends. Billionaires to suicide, make war on the streets. Blood on the pavement, contracts of enslavement. Straight jacket on a nigga if he try to escape it. She don't play by the rules, it gets foul and flagrant. Drunk the blood of the saints with a smile on her face. In the name of liberty, why she holding the flame? But now we waking up, they got an answer for our pain. Condemnation to this wicked nation. The Lord kindled the fire, now we trailblazing. The kingdom coming, not by observation. Hard work and dedication. No more sitting around waiting. It's even now or never. Revelation for a nation unknown. The devastation got us pacing, but we breaking the mold. Look what we facing. Lord have mercy on our souls. Lord have mercy on our souls. It's even now or never. Revelation for a nation unknown. They call our nation unknown. Psalms 83:4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may no longer be in remembrance. Nation unknown. It's time to wake up. Shalom, Israel. It's your boy New Breed coming through with another live stream. And if you like that song right there, it's called Nation Unknown. And you can find that on New Breed's Music and Motivation. That track right there is very inspiring. It's talking about the lost sheep, the lost tribes, how we've been disenfranchised, and now we're coming into fruition of our true identity, man. It's a deep song right there. Nation Unknown. All praises to the Most High. Good morning to everybody. Grand rising to everybody. You know, I do understand that some of these broadcasts are airing worldwide, so it may be evening or afternoon where you at, but grand rising nonetheless. In this particular stream, we're going to be talking about natural and sacred sciences versus sorcery and witchcraft. That's right. Now, I find this particular topic very important, extremely important, because, you know, throughout the years of doing Bible lessons and teaching in regards of sorcery and witchcraft and how to stay away from those particular things, somehow down the line, a lot of brothers and sisters, they stop tapping into the natural sciences, the sacred sciences. And I'm talking about that's written of in biblical texts and extra biblical literature as well. And, you know, I decided that I'm going to draw a silver lining. It has to be a silver lining where brothers and sisters understand that science does not necessarily have to be something that's evil and wicked and perverse. I'm going to show you the nature of natural science. of sacred sciences. The Bible, time and time again, shows us what natural and sacred science is, and we're going to get into that today. But before I do so, let me welcome you all. Let me greet you all, the good people. I see Shy Blood Before Dishonors in the house. Jonathan Wilson's in the house. Cynthia, how's it going? Timothy Hunt. Brianna Barker, thank you for becoming a member. Also seen someone else become a member. I'm actually streaming from another platform, so it's hard for me to catch all of the chat. Y'all just bear with me on this morning here. Leanne Diamond's in the house. Misfit Styles in the house. Yeah, Shemaiah Israel. Jay Amando. All praises to the Most High. I'm glad y'all catching another broadcast. As you enter the chat, y'all make sure y'all hit it with a thumbs up. Hit it with a thumbs up. Allow this video to spread. We want people to get the notifications. This video is going to be very, very informative. Very informative. I'm going to be going to my sources, and I'm going to be going into some scriptures. I've actually decided to go into the book of Enoch today. I'm going to read from the book of Enoch, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you know, there's a lot of scholars who consider the book of Enoch to be non-canonical. I, for one, find the relevance in it. All right. It does reverence biblical text, and I'm talking about King James Version Bible. It references and cross-references the Bible. Also in the Holy Bible, it references the book of Enoch. So I find it relevant. I waded through the parameters of the text. I filtered it through the Bible. I've read the book of Enoch multiple times. I've grew an understanding of it. And, you know, I'm going to introduce it to y'all because I've read from it and I do have an understanding from it. Now, you know, the Bible does tell us to be careful of the admonishing of many books or the creating of many books. But since the Bible references Enoch and Enoch cross-references the Bible, I find the validity in the text. All right. So I'm going to be getting into some of the text here in the book of Enoch. And it's going to be bringing out some stuff, man. It's going to be bringing out a lot of valuable information in regards to natural sciences versus witchcraft, sorcery, magic. There's a lot of things I'm going to go to, man. I'm going to be definitely segmenting this video because we're talking about everything from creation to the luminaries to astrology versus astronomy. And we're going to be bridging the gap, speaking in regards to the backlash or the consequences that come with practicing sorcery and witchcraft. All right. So we're going to be getting it in. Shantae Monique, thank you for becoming a new member. Welcome. I hope you enjoy all your new perks. Highly appreciate your support. Now, first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, we got to understand that on social media right now, there's a lot of enchanters, there's a lot of sorcerers, there's a lot of magicians, there's a lot of new agers, there's a lot of people practicing witchcraft on social media. And a lot of these people are very articulate. A lot of these people are pretty much snake oil salesmen, and they got the attention of most people who want to become spiritual. Most people who want to take their initial steps towards spirituality, the people that initially grab their attention tends to be people who operate in witchcraft, in the vein of sorcery and magic. And it's reasons for this. I mean, if you look at society and look how we've been conditioned from childhood with the whimsical world of Disney, right? With Harry Potter, with all of these magical films, all these films of enchantment, we've already been acclimated and conditioned to accept witchcraft and sorcery. So the only thing these leaders, these so-called leaders do is they come out and they tickle your ears and they speak to your subconscious mind, something that you've already grasped and processed subconsciously. So it's manipulation going on. And there's a huge demographic for people who are on that path. Charlitas Anderson, thank you for becoming a member. Highly appreciate you. Highly appreciate you. Now we're going to go into it today. I'm going to be going to some sources. Now, y'all got to understand that every facet of society, every single facet of society have been operating on the left-hand side. Ever since the knowledge of good and evil was introduced to this realm, to this world, due to the sins of Eve and Adam, they have been operating on demonic frequencies. And I mean this in every way. I mean, through sound, through taste, through your views. I mean, all senses. Satan makes sure he covered all senses. Once that fruit of good and evil, that knowledge, and it doesn't have to be a literal fruit for those who don't know. It's speaking of a certain level of knowledge. Just like the Bible compares wisdom to a roll. So when you eat this roll of wisdom, it nourishes you. But when you eat from the fruit of good and evil, it opens up Pandora's box. It opens up a whole world of trouble. Now, I'm going to show you programming through masses, through music, because I got to get you on every level here. We're going to talk about natural sciences in regards to sound first. All right? Because for those who don't know, Satan was a chief musician in the heavens. He was a chief musician in the heavens, and his job was to awaken the angelic realm. And he had beautiful music. And this music he still has, but it has been distorted to something wicked. And it creates another vibration that wasn't here before. It is even stated in extra biblical texts that in order to enchant Eve in the garden, that he played a subtle sound to lure her into the garden, to lure her out of the garden and into the knowledge of good and evil. Yeah. And so music is a big deal. So we're going to start off with music first, and then we're going to get into all of these other practices that people get into. Now, this is going to have some information in it. I want to go to programming the masses through music. Musical cult control. Musical cult control, 432 hertz versus 444 hertz. Now, we're getting into some science right now. We're talking about sound, because a lot of you brothers and sisters don't know that sound can have healing properties if it's done right. And that's why a lot of my music that I bring forth, I make sure it's recorded a certain way. I make sure that I'm tapping into the Holy Spirit when I'm creating my music, because I want my music to have healing properties. But there's music that Satan creates. And the entire world is under this frequency that he's bringing out. And I'm going to share this source with y'all. Shout out to Woke Breed, because that's where the source is coming from. And I am utilizing fair use. And I'm going to play this one from the phone, ladies and gentlemen.
What I am about to tell you might change the way you listen to music forever. Around 1885, the Music Commission of the Italian government declared that all instruments and orchestras should use a tuning fork that vibrated at 440 Hz, which was different from the original standard of 432 Hz used in France and throughout most of the world. In 1917, the American Federation of Musicians endorsed the Italians and began tuning in 440 Hz. Interestingly, in 1917, the United States officially entered World War I. Then in 1953, a worldwide agreement was signed between all nations. This frequency became the standard ISO 16 reference for tuning of all musical instruments. This tone standard is now accepted all over the world. It remains a mystery why this frequency was chosen in the first place. In fact, there are many people who disagree with this standard. They consider the 440 Hz, middle A, to be an abomination against nature. There are indeed clues that points to 432 Hz as a more natural frequency for the correct middle A, also known as Verdes A pure tone of math fundamental to nature and is mathematically consistent with the patterns of the universe, vibrating with pi and the golden ratio.
Now you got to understand that there is a natural frequency of sound in the earth. Let me break this down in layman's terms for you. There's a natural vibration that's in total synchrony with the planet. And we're talking about natural mathematics right now. Natural mathematics, the use of numbers in a correct way. We're talking about proper numerology broke down through the natural essence of creation. See, ladies and gentlemen, it took creation to actually make this planet. Contrary to popular belief, there's no Big Bang. They took literal creation. It took math. Even when you're looking at something as small as a flower, and you take a flower and you look at the intricate details inside of the flower, it took extreme geometry. It took extreme geometry to create that. So it's the same thing with the planet and sound. It's the same thing with sound. So you can imagine when Satan fell and he had control over music, that he will find ways to bend the airwaves and bend the frequencies to distort the sound. So you would have 432 hertz. That would be the supreme sound. That would be perfect. It's aligned mathematically. He's going to break down mathematically how 432 hertz fits nature. And then he's going to break down how 440 hertz was used as a weapon from Satan.
What is 440 hertz? 440 Hz is the unnatural standard tuning frequency removed from the symmetry of sacred vibrations and overtones. There is a theory that the change from 432 Hz to 440 Hz was dictated by Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels. Apparently, he used it to make people think and feel a certain manner and to make them a prisoner of their own consciousness. In a paper entitled...
They used it in Nazi Germany to make people a slave to their own consciousness. So the 440 hertz has you digging into carnalities, where the 432 hertz, on the other hand, you're actually tapping into the planet and the natural geometry, the natural science, which have healing properties as well. This is interesting how to use that as a weapon. Let's continue.
A musical called Control. Dr. Leonard Horowitz writes, the music industry features this imposed frequency that is herding populations into greater aggression, psychosocial agitation, and emotional distress, predisposing people to physical illness. Believe me, they know exactly what they are doing. They are successfully lowering the vibrations of not only the young generation, but the rest of us as well. If one should desire to know whether a kingdom is well governed, if its morals are good or bad, the quality of its music will furnish the answer. Confucius.
Let me read that again. It says, if one should desire to know whether a kingdom is well governed, if its morals are good or bad, the quality of its music will furnish the answer. And that came from Confucius. And that is absolutely true. Now, when we're questioning morality, just listening to the music, you already see what society lies. And they run beta tests on this stuff. During the baby blooming season, they were playing love music. More babies were being created. Nowadays, it's more carnal. It's a low frequency. It's causing division. It's causing people actually to be depressed. I mean, they're going as far as to not only tuning in to 440 hertz through the music, but they are going as far as to rapping and singing about suicide. You'll be listening to a song and it's catchy, and it got a nice little jingle to it. It seemed a little bit wavy, it seemed a little jazzy. Next thing you know, if you listen to the lyrics, you listening to a song about suicide, offing yourself. It's a weapon, and they have orchestrated this, and they already know what they're doing purposely.
You just have to go out into the street and take a look around. What do you see? School kids, young adults on their way to work. And what do they all have in common? iPhones or MP3 players. Ingenious, isn't it? These destructive frequencies entertain the thoughts towards destruction, disharmony, and disunity. They also stimulate the controlling organ of the body and the brain into disharmonious resonance, which ultimately creates mind control. Some suspect that the Rockefeller Foundation had an interest in making sure that the United States adopted the 440 Hz standard as part of a war on consciousness, leading to musical cult control. If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe. We have been left a method of counting and measurement, and the importance of dividing a unit by 12 seems to be the main rule given that has been adopted by humanity. Here are some of the ways that I found 12 to be an important number. 12 months of the year, 12 hours of a clock, 12 inches to the foot, 12 apostles of Christ, 12 constellations of the zodiac, 12 tribes of Israel, 12 knights of the round table, and there's much more. What happened?
Now, when it comes to sacred science and sacred mathematics, the number 12 is used repeatedly. You got 12 disciples. You got 12 grades in school, right? You got 12, the 12 tribes of Israel. 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. The hands on the clock, 12. See, the Most High continually used the word 12 for completion in its supreme mathematics. And when you take 432 hertz and you do the math on it, it's going to come out. Well, I'll show you. I'm gonna let him break it down. I'm gonna let him break it down. Both. I want y'all to pay close attention to what he's saying here.
What happens when you divide today's music standard of A 440 Hz by 12? 440 Hz divided by 12 equals
36.66666666666667.
So what happens when you
That's if you take 440 hertz. You see all these sixes? Mark of the Beast. You hear Drake calling himself Six God? Yeah, it's a reason for that. Better believe that they're recording this music under 440 hertz. And that's the enchantment of it. That's the allure of the music. Now, listen.
Divide A 432 Hz, known as Verdi's A, an alternative tuning that is mathematically consistent with the universe, by 12. 432 Hz divided by 12 equals just 36.
Now,
Verdi said perfectly.
Now that's just
440 Hz is pretending.
Now that's a solid number, 36. Now, what Nikola Tesla did was he studied the 3, the 6, and the 9 to basically learn mathematics. The 3, the 6, and the 9 to learn mathematics, pretty much to learn all the sciences that was naturally there. So when you get, let me break this down properly. Let me pace myself. I don't want to run away with this. I want to simplify this for y'all. So you get a solid number of 36, and that's 430 hertz. And what he's doing is he's dividing it by 12. And in the science world, Nikola Tesla used the 3, the 6, and the 9 because they understood the relevance of the 12. All right. Now, I hope that makes sense to y'all because it's all mathematics, right? Now, 440 hertz, on the other hand, you getting something totally just different and contrary to nature.
To be sacred geometry.
What I'm saying to you is you should give it to somebody that don't know any better, because that's a fugazi. All right?
440 Hz is the closest one can come to the real thing while still being an imposter. 432 Hz divided by 12 equals 36. 3 plus 6 equals 9. 432 Hertz equals 369. There are two ways of expressing the same thing. Next, let's look further into how the 432 Hertz frequency is in time itself. Is our number system and method of timekeeping entirely based on 432 Hertz, 9-base mathematics? How many seconds are in 12 hours? 43,200. That's 432. Divide or multiply a whole unit by 12. So 60 seconds times 12 equals 43,200 seconds. 36 times 12 equals 432. 36.666 times 12 equals 440. Interesting, isn't it? They are all related.
Very interesting. The 432 Hertz, you could divide it by 12 in numerous ways. You could break it down in numerous ways, and it still equivalates through the 12. It's literally a ongoing cycle. It coincides and coexists with nature, the sound of 432 Hertz. And all you music producers out there need to take notes right now. Stop producing your music through 440. It's a demonic frequency. All right. It's not natural music. And it does have an effect on people, a negative effect.
They are perfect musical overtones of one another. Now check this out using vortex-based mathematics. 1 times 12 equals 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. 2 times 12 equals 24. 2 plus 4 equals 6. 2 times 12 equals 24. 3 times 12 equals 36. 3 plus 6 equals 9. 4 times 12 equals 48. 4 plus 8 equals 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. 5 times 12 equals 60. 6 plus 0 equals 6. 6 times 12 equals 72. 7 plus 2 equals 9. Now, if you keep on going, you'll notice that our number system is all 3, 6, and 9, repeating forever. The numerical coincidences are too compelling. All over the world and for thousands of years, humanity has received certain number sequences. 108, 144, 360, 369, 432, 1080. But why? What is it about these numbers that jars something so deep within us that we incorporate them into our myths and spiritual beliefs? The answer could be in frequency harmonics. We measure sound frequencies and vibration cycles per second, and the numbers listed above, when played as frequencies, just happen to mirror the exact harmonic patterns found in nature.
Look at this. The exact harmonic patterns found in
Music
nature.
based on 432 Hertz transmits beneficial healing energy because it is a pure tone of math fundamental to nature. Classical music such as Beethoven was created using 432 Hertz, and research shows that this type of music helps plants grow faster and healthier.
And that's the truth, man. Certain music you play can actually affect nature. So don't think it's crazy when people are playing certain songs for their plants. You know what I'm saying? To help the plants grow. It's real. It coincides with nature. So I wanted to point out the difference. I wanted to point out the difference in sound first. But it's a lot of things that happen with that knowledge of good and evil. There's a lot of things that happen, right? I want to talk about the difference between astrology and astronomy. Someone sent a $50 contribution, says, "You are amazing." Jackie Simmons, thank you. Highly appreciate you. And Terrell, thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate you. You know, I wanted to share the difference between astrology and astronomy, because there's an issue where people are delving into the occult by starting off reading their tarot cards, looking into their horoscopes and things of that nature. And I want to break down what is righteous and what is wicked, so you can draw the lines. All right. It's all about drawing the lines. I want to give a silver lining, because as I taught on witchcraft and sorcery, people be like, "Damn, New Breed, you can't do nothing. You can't read nothing. You can't study nothing. You can't research nothing." And that's just not the case. All right. I want to draw the silver lining so you can get balance and understand what we're dealing with here. Now, a lot of people are into astrology. That's where the sin comes in. That's where the wickedness comes in. That's where you start to tread the fence of sorcery and magic. Astronomy, on the other hand, is totally righteous. And I'm gonna give you the difference. First of all, let me go to the definition here. Let me go to the definition. Actually, let me pull it up here. Let me show you the difference between the two. All right. Astronomy is a science that studies everything outside of the Earth's atmosphere, such as planets, stars, asteroids, galaxies, and the properties and relationships of those celestial bodies. All right. Astrology, on the other hand, is the belief that the positioning of the stars and the planets affect the way events occur on Earth. Now, you hear that? That's a clean-cut difference. So studying the luminaries is not sin. Studying the planets, the galaxies, the celestial bodies and the relationships between the two, that's not a sin. Here's where it gets weird. Astrology, on the other hand, is the belief that the positioning of the stars and planets affect the way events occur on Earth. That's when you're looking into your horoscope and you're trying to dictate what your mood is going to be today, or you're trying to dictate how someone else is going to act, or you're trying to match your relationship based on how somebody else, or what birth sign they are, or if they a twin flame, or what month they was born on. That's when you're delving into astrology. Now I'm going to give you the difference. Let's get a little bit into astronomy. And I'm going to give you the breakdown. We're reading from the book of Enoch, by the way. I'm going to give you a little bit of a breakdown. This, what you're about to learn, this is some natural science on the luminaries that a lot of y'all have never heard before. This is going to totally change. This is going to totally change your thoughts on how the luminaries are and what they are in space. It's going to change you. It's going to make you think outside of the box of what you've been taught. I'm going to Enoch, and I'm going to start off in chapter 72. And it reads, "The book of the course of the luminaries of the heaven, the relationships of each, according to their classes, their dominion, and their seasons, according to their names and places of origin, according to their months, which Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, who was there guiding me, showed me all." Now, so here you have Enoch being showed what the luminaries do and what their responsibilities are. He's being showed by an angel. And for those who are not familiar with who Enoch is, Enoch was a highly favored prophet. Enoch was loved by the Most High. He was valued by the Most High. Enoch was an astounding teacher. He had so much favor in the eyes and the sight of the Lord that Enoch did not even face death. Enoch was literally translated. He was preaching one day, and then the Most High said, "Hey, look, come with me." Enoch was even used to judge fallen angels, which we're going to get into some of the technology and science that these fallen deities, these malevolent forces, taught mankind. We're going to get into that. But Enoch was loved by the Most High, and he was carried away in the spirit, and he was shown how the luminaries, how they interact in the galaxy, how they move around, how they shift, things of that nature. All right. And it reads, "Their laws exactly as they are, and how it is with regards to all the years of the world and unto eternity, to the new creation." And we're talking about the new heaven and new earth, "and accomplished with which dureth till eternity. And this the first law of the luminaries, the luminary known as the sun, has its rising in the eastern portals of the heavens, and is setting in the western portals of the heavens. And I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises, and 6 portals in which the sun sets. And the moon rises and sets in these portals. Now, 6 plus 6 equals what, ladies and gentlemen? 12, right? 6 plus 6 equals 12. So what we're learning here in this verse is that, contrary to popular belief, the sun does not rise and set according to the Bible. The sun does not rise and set. It actually enters through 6 portals from the eastern hemisphere of the heavens. And when it talks about the heavens, it's talking about the sky. There are portals in the sky. And you know this is true. You know this is true if you've ever been on a plane and you've traveled abroad and you flew and you didn't see the sun set and just disappear. This is the reason why it can be sunlight in Vegas, but it can be dark here in Atlanta, right? That's because it's not good. It's not rising and falling on the earth like they taught, like NASA lying ass and taught you. It doesn't work like that. The luminaries actually travel through portals. So there's 6 portals on each side of the eastern hemisphere, and they actually go through, it's actually 12 in totality, which is the number of completion. We're talking natural science right now. We're talking about supreme mathematics right now, right? And I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises and 6 portals in which the sun sets. And the moon rises and sets in these portals. And the leaders, and it says the moon, it also says, and the moon rises and sets in these portals. And this is the reason why sometimes you can see the moon and the sun in the sky at the same time, because they're not rising and setting. They're actually traveling through portals, right? And the moon rises and sets in these portals, and the leaders of the stars and those whom they lead, 6 in the east and 6 in the west, and all following each other in accurately corresponding order. See, the Most High is all about order. They're all following each other in accurate corresponding order. If you gain an edification, I'm gonna need y'all to hit the thumbs up on this video. We bringing it to you. We bringing some real valid information out at the moment. So show your support. It says also many widows to the right and left of these portals. And first there goes forth the great luminary named the sun, and his circumference is like the circumference of the heaven. And he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. Now notice that it refers to the sun as a he, See, even in the heavenly realm, in each dynamic of this universe we live in, whether it be within the world's atmosphere, whether it be in the heavens known as the skies, or in the heavens above the skies, we have male and female. You have masculine and feminine. So the sun is called a he. The moon is going to be referred to as she. Thank you for the $20 contribution. Jessica Thrasher says, New Breed, thank you for this. I have been praying for clarity, a higher level of understanding regarding this. Your message is on time and in alignment with what I have been asking the Most High about. All praises to the God of Israel. Thank you, sis. Thank you for supporting this work as well. And it says, and first there goes forth the great luminary named the sun. And its circumference is like the circumference of the heaven, and is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. The chariot on which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from the heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and is so guided that he comes to the appropriate portal and shines in the faces of the heavens. In this way, he rises in the first month in the great portal, which is the 4th of those 6 portals in the east. And in the 4th portal from the sun rises in the first month are 12 windows opening, which precede a flame. When they are open in the season, when the sun rises in the heavens, he comes forth through the 4th portal, 30 mornings in succession. Now, this is breaking down totally in order how the sun enters portals and how it shines on this earth. NASA is a lie. Only in the Bible it tells you what the luminaries are actually doing. All right. It's total order. It's total supreme mathematics. Now let's talk a little bit about the moon, and then I'm going to move forward. Let's talk a little bit about the moon. And then I'm going to move forward to explain what these fallen angels then brought forth and how now we have this Frankenstein science. Now let's go to chapter 73. It's going to break down a little bit about the moon. And after this law, I saw another law dealing with the smaller luminary, which is named the moon. So the moon is smaller than the sun. And it says, and her circumference is like the circumference of the heavens, and her chariot is which she rides is driven by the wind, and light given to her in a definitive measure. And her rising and setting changes every month. Oh, ain't that like a woman? Ain't that like a female energy? You see how the Most High has balance? Look, the sun, he moving exactly on course. He's in order, right? He's in succession. He is in total order, right? With how he operates. But no, the moon, she said, look, she changed every month, right? That's how the Most High did this. This is how he created this, y'all. It says, but the moon, though, she be switching it up, right? It says, and after this law, I saw a law dealing with the smaller luminary, which is named the moon. And her circumference is like the circumference of heaven. And her chariot, which she rides, is driven by the wind. See, her chariot is driven by wind. So, you know, she gets a little bit swayed. You hear me? It's a little bit different with the moon. And the light given to her is definitive measure. And her rising and setting changes every month. Let me see. Her light changes every month. And her days are like the days of the sun when her light is in uniform, full its amount of the seventh part of the light of the sun. So she takes on about a seventh part of the light of the sun. Another number that represents completion, the number 7. And thus she rises in her first phase in the east, comes forth the 13th morning, and on that day she becomes visible. All right, so now it goes all into how the moon travels. Now this is dealing with, now the book of Enoch, it talks about the stars, it talks about the moon, it talks about the sun, it talks about all the luminaries and their responsibilities and how they travel. Now the feminine, I don't want to call it a deity, but the feminine luminary known as the moon, she more so do her own thing a little bit. This is why you see different moons. Now, if you was to look up at the sun and see different suns, y'all would flip y'all lid, right? If you go outside trying to get you some vitamin D, some sunlight, and the sun is like looking crazy out here, it's a crescent sun out here. You know, you call that an eclipse, and that's when the moon actually crosses over the sun and they become one. That's all an eclipse is when the moon and sun, they pass through the same portal. You get it? When the moon and sun actually once in a while passes through the same portal every so and so years, which the book of Enoch speaks of this, they shadow each other. All right. But you see different moons. You see the crescent moon, you see the full moon, you see this type of moon. And you know that science would like to battle the divine masculine energy of the sun because they're trying to block off the sun. You got Bill Gates trying to block off the sun. So that shows you they want the masculine energy, the divine masculine energy covered. Lifestyle, thank you for the $20 contribution, says just recorded a podcast about this subject. It's an all-out war out here. Staying in alignment is a discipline. We love to do a show together. Peace. Okay. Thank you, brother. Highly appreciate it. Thank you for showing your support. I'll definitely check out your podcast to see what you got going on there. Appreciate it. Now, I want to read a little bit from the Bible. Now we understand the difference between astrology and astronomy. See, astrology Actually, no, it's a little bit more in Enoch. Pardon me, y'all. It's a little more in Enoch that I got to go to in regards to astrology. I'm going to go to chapter 2. I'm going to go back a little bit. And if you get a chance, y'all get the book of Enoch. It's a lot of great information. Hold up. Actually, it's chapter 6. Pardon me. I'm going to go to chapter 6 for a little bit. And this is speaking in regards to the angels that the 1/3 angels that fell from the heavens and decided to procreate with women, right? It's going to speak in regards to some of the Frankenstein technology they taught to women, to mankind, pardon me. And it's a lot. I'm talking about everything. I mean, everything from weapons. It taught women how to wear makeup. They taught women how to wear makeup. Everything from this astrology and ancient practices that was done in the days of Noah, enchantment, witchcraft, sorcery, the ways of the tarot, all of those things was taught by fallen angels. Chapter 6, book of Enoch. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied in those days, were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heavens, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, come, let us choose wives from among the children of men, and get us children. And Simjaza, who was the leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of sin. So he had to get other angels to agree with him because he was afraid that he'll face the penalty alone. And they all answered him and said, let us swear an oath and all bind ourselves by mutual implications not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual implications upon it. And they were all in 200 who descended in the days of Jared and submit of Mount Hermon, and they called it Mount Hermon. Now let's talk about some of the things that happened in regards to this. Talk about what happened when these fallen deities decided that they were going to become incubus and that they were going to inhabit women and create demonic children. Let's see what happened. Let's talk about it. And although, and it says, and this is chapter 7. And all the others came together with them and took upon themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. And they began to go in unto them and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantment and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. Now I want you to listen carefully. It showed them the cutting of roots. It made them familiar with plants. See, a lot of us believe that when you see someone on social media dealing with roots, dealing with sage, they're mashing up different herbs inside of a bowl and they're smoking it out and they're doing these little rituals. You think that that's something that's organic. A lot of y'all think that, okay, that can't be bad. That can't be a negative thing because they're dealing with the elements of the earth. They're dealing with plants. You know, they're dealing with things that's tangible that you can grab in nature. It can't be wicked. No, on the contrary. These fallen angels taught them roots, taught them different things to do with plants. See, when the Most High created this planet, he made all things good. When every fruit and plant yielding seed was in its natural course and everything was natural, before Eve went to the knowledge of good and evil and Adam decided to bite of the fruit as well, everything worked perfectly. But then when everything got corrupted through sin, through the subdability of Satan, everything changed. And Satan could duplicate everything, even plants and seeds. So you will have plants in that garden that will be used for evil now. See, at first it was just all good. Now you got plants that can be corrupted. I mean, if you take a poppy seed and you eat a poppy seed, that's not going to hurt you. It's not going to harm you. You could put poppy seeds on food. But if you take the right science and methods to poppy seeds, you can make heroin out of it. So you see what I'm saying? Marijuana, hemp, organic hemp seeds, cannabis. If you don't add THC, these things could be beneficial. But then when you grow it with the THC component and you begin to grow it a certain way and you take certain hybrid seeds and change its natural use, then you begin to distort it. So just because you see somebody burning some sage, crushing up some herbs, people smoking herbs, doing different things, using DMT and trying to tap into the spiritual realm, what you looking at is something that was taught by fallen angels. It says, unto them and to defile themselves with them, and they taught them charms and enchantments, the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 eels. Now, there is evidence. There is circumstantial evidence that these giants existed. And I'm talking about physical giants. If you look up information like the lost city of Atlantis, I want y'all to look up things like this. If you look up certain documentaries out there, they found bones. They found literal bones of these huge species that resemble humans, right? Now, some people believe that when they speak of giants and women dealing with fallen angels, that they're speaking in a parable, and that these giants were actually just men of world renown, like they were famous men. They were men who had superiority and kingship. But honestly, I think it's a little bit of both. If you ask me, I think it's both. I think that giants did exist. All right. And you could say, Newbury, you're crazy, but no, I think outside of the box. All right. I think the truth is a lot stranger than fiction often. And it says, who consume all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they begin to sin against the birds, the beasts, the reptiles, the fish, and devour one another, flesh and drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. And I'm telling you, man, there were things going on in the days of Noah that you couldn't quite imagine. I often speak about Jurassic Park, you know, the movie Jurassic Park, how there was a real Jurassic Park in the days of Noah, a real Jurassic Park where they would literally begin to genetically splice. I want you to pay attention. It said that they would begin to splice. Let me go back some. Verse 5 says they begin to sin against birds, beasts, reptiles, and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. So these reptiles, these fish, these beasts, they will begin to genetically splice them. They will begin to genetically alternate and mutate different species. So when you see a dinosaur, God, the Most High, did not create dinosaurs. You're looking at a product of science, wicked science, things that were taught to mankind. I would not be shocked if they got a real Jurassic Park somewhere and we just don't know about it. I would not be surprised if these millionaires who created the movies, you know, have a real live Jurassic Park. I wouldn't be shocked, because they really did have technology to do that. And if it wasn't for the Most High flooding the earth, then we would be dead. We will all be extinct, because mankind was that destructive that they created something that would actually destroy us. That's what these angels were doing, because listen, they work for Satan. Their goal is to destroy mankind. It says, and Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of autonomy, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones and all coloring tinctures. So it taught women how to beautify their eyelids, you know, putting on makeup. The Egyptians were real big on this. You know, that's actually goes into witchcraft, ladies. When you putting a little eyeliner up all the way up here, and you know you putting the fake eyelashes on, and you're batting your eyes, and you're using your eyes to seduce. That was actually taught by fallen angels. All right, you know, and the Egyptians, they were heavy into that. But you know, it is what it is. And let's go. Okay, I see another. Sandra Blake, thank you for the $20 contribution. Highly appreciated. Bam Buddha, thank you for the $20 contribution. Says, Shalom, brother. I work for Red Wing Shoe, and in their shoe store, they have a display of a Ukraine man with a size 26 foot that made custom boots for him. Yeah, better believe it. That's definitely the reality, man. There's some things out there that we don't know too much about. I mean, there's been some DNA that's sprawled down. When you're thinking about some of these gladiators and warriors that's 7-8 feet tall, you know, they may have some of that DNA that fell through. They call it the DNA of the gods, right? John Durham, thank you for becoming a member. Highly appreciate you. Let's talk about some of the other things that they taught. It says, and then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said one to another, the earth made without inhabitant cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause to the Most High. So now the angels, the righteous angels, they had to cry out and call out to the Most High. And the Most High had to flood the earth because it was so much going on. Now, remember in the book of Matthew that Christ, when asked by the disciples, how will it be in the coming of the Son of Man be? How will it be on your return, upon your return? And he said, it will be as the days of Noah. So the same thing that was going on back then, is what's going on right now. Now they got technology they rolling out that if the Most High God didn't shorten the days, no man would survive it. Now they got technology that's creating transhumans. There's transhumanism going on. People are becoming robotic. People have been conditioned by these cell phones, these 5G towers, these laptops, all these devices to become one with the machine. So now you got it where people are going to become zombies. People are going to become robotic based on the scientific advances that we've had. Now I had to show you the difference. And also, if you go into this word, it also shows you, which I'm looking for it now. Oh, actually, when you go back to enchantment, that falls into the line. When the fallen angels taught mankind enchantment and things of that nature, that falls into the line of astrology, the lining of the stars. That's how enchantment was brought forth. See, they're going to corrupt the true purpose of the luminaries. The truth is that when that is knowledge that mankind was never supposed to know. Is it truth that some people display certain behaviors based on their birth sign, based on the time they were born? Absolutely. There's absolutely truth to it. But mankind was never supposed to know that. The only reason that information was introduced to mankind is because those angels who fell taught it to mankind. And they taught it to him to bring forth magic and enchantment and witchcraft. But the truth is, we're never supposed to learn that. And it goes into the spirit of manipulation, which is witchcraft, because you're prejudging someone. You begin to manipulate a person based on their on their earth sign based on when they were born. You start knowing different characteristics about that person and using it against them. When the truth is, when you're reborn, man, I'm telling you, when you're reborn, you are not, none of those things hold no weight. They have no validity. They hold no bearing on you as a person. When you are reborn, none of it matters. Doesn't matter. You're going to become a new person. Now, I'm going to show you how they introduce. I'm going to share my screen with y'all. We go into another source. Share my screen with y'all. I'm going to show y'all how these social media personalities introduce these things to the people so you can beware. So you can beware. And I'm going to share my entire screen. Let me see. Fair use. Fair use. Let's see here. All right. All right. I'm going to play a little bit of this and then I'll chime in.
There are as many ways to be a witch as there are witches, but one thorough line that runs through the history and the present of magical practice is that magic is a practice for the oppressed. It's a practice of people who have been rejected, cast off, or marginalized by society. As a Black woman, trauma has touched so many parts of my life. I first started to deepen my practice when I was coming out of an especially traumatic situation. In the aftermath of trauma, especially this really intimate trauma, you kind of feel like your whole world has exploded, that you don't have a way for understanding who you are or how you relate to the world around you. So my magical practice, my witchcraft, was a way of reorganizing the world around me, re-understanding who I was and how I could exist in the world. When I was kind of in the deepest pits of depression and struggling with anxiety, even though I knew that the right thing to do would be to get out of bed and take a shower, I just didn't feel like I deserved those things. But by giving myself a ritual, that transformed into, I have to get up and take a shower. But one thorough...
All right, one moment, ladies and gentlemen. Just getting back to y'all, had to take a brief intermission. I wanted to introduce that video. Let me see here. Let me get gathered. Let me get gathered here. All right. Now, I'm going to play that from the top and I'm going to chime in. I want y'all to listen carefully to what she's saying here. I know a lot of y'all have already heard what she said, but I had to take a brief intermission. I'm going to go ahead and share this again. All right. Let me see here. All right. Let me pull that screen up. All right, I want y'all to listen carefully. And this is how these people be introducing this stuff to a lot of people. And a lot of brothers and sisters be sending me emails, getting caught up in these various practices. And a lot of people be having a lot of questions in regards to these practices. Because you got these articulate young ladies and gentlemen that come forth and they make these things seem so appealing. So let me break it down to y'all. And I'm going to talk about exactly what she's doing right now. And I'm going to talk about the consequences as well.
Line that runs through the history and the present of magical practice is that magic is a practice for the oppressed. It's a practice of people who have been rejected, cast off, or marginalized by society. As a Black woman, trauma has touched so many parts of my life. I first started to deepen my practice when...
And she says, as a Black woman, that trauma has been a big part of her life. And there's an inordinate increase in a lot of Black women in particular who are leaving the Bible. They're leaving the churches and they're going to this witchcraft. And there's a certain allure to it. And, you know, you got a lot of sisters who seem to be very level-headed. They seem to be very understanding of the plight that a lot of sisters got to go through. And and this I would call it a very orderly belief system of the Bible, they'll try to sell it as being toxic masculinity when it's really just biblical patriarchy. And they sell it to a lot of ladies that way. Like, hey, come on, sis, tap into your divine feminine. They make it seem like men are trying to control every facet of their being when really men are the leaders and the teachers and the providers. But they feel like there's an alternative. And this is how Satan be getting them. Satan always come with subtlety. He did it in the garden. He make it sound so good. A witch don't have to come at you looking like the wicked witch of the East. A lot of witches look like her. A lot of witches look well put together. Let's just put it that way.
And I was coming out of an especially traumatic situation. In the aftermath of trauma, especially this really intimate trauma, you kind of feel like your whole world has exploded, that you don't have a way for understanding who you are or how you relate to the world around you. So my magical practice, my witchcraft, was a way of reorganizing the world.
That's interesting that she put that out there the way she did, because, Satan always comes at individuals when they're at their lowest point. When they go through an extreme traumatic life experience, Satan always going to lift his hand up. Satan always going to make you feel like God, the Most High, was the one who put you in that situation. And that there's a way that you can feel empowered. Because a lot of these people who do this witchcraft, they do feel power. And that power is coming from fallen angels.
World around me, re-understanding who I was and how I could exist in the world. When I was kind of in the deepest pits of depression and struggling with anxiety, even though I knew that the right thing to do would be to get out of bed and take a shower, I just didn't feel like I deserved those things. But by giving myself a ritual, that transformed into, I have to get up and take.
Hold on. So you mean to tell me, you got to do a ritual to hop your funky ass in a shower? That's what you telling me? I mean, come on, man. You mean to tell me that whatever you going through, whatever you have done, because typically, if you want to lay in your own filth, typically you've done something that you rebelled in. You see, it's psychology to this. You done something that you rebelled in, that you enjoyed, and you ain't trying to wash it up off. You ain't trying to wash the residue up off you. Because it don't take you doing a ritual to be cleansed. Hop your ass in some hot water and wash your ass. Why is she gonna get on this public place and talking about her as a woman not wanting to take a shower unless she's doing some damn witchcraft? See, the Most High, he deal with he's making cleanly women. Straight up. Let me go back here. All right, I ain't gonna keep on cutting in here. I'm gonna let it play.
Take a shower because there is a part of me that is holy, and that holy part deserves to be taken care of. So while talk therapy was very helpful to me, it was actually magic and ritualistic practice that helped me get to my therapist's office in the first place. Whether it's acute trauma or if it's the kind of trauma that exists when you exist in a body that society doesn't accept or doesn't value. I found witchcraft very helpful because it's a practice that really centers my personal value. And in a world that keeps telling me that I don't have value, that's a really radical act. When I was a kid, my understanding of magic came from like kid shows.
Fair use.
My strongest memories of seeing a witch on TV was like this old Scooby-Doo movie where, the witches were like these cool punk rock girls. It's like Macbeth.
Fair use.
Over some bubbling cauldron.
Fair use.
In the woods.
Fair use.
When I got older and actually started developing my own practice, I found that a lot of things that are magic were things that I was raised with, that I grew up with. My family is Ethiopian. My mom never would have called herself a witch, but there were a lot of beliefs in our household. Things like my mom telling me that she had clairvoyant visions, my mom laying hands when I was sick, using these folk remedies to heal the body, to take care of me. It wasn't until I got older that I started dabbling in magic on my own. And the first sort of official magic that I practiced was tarot. I picked up a tarot deck. I kind of got it just to.
And notice that she said that she kind of was already growing up around these things. And if y'all have young children, you need to pay attention to the movies they watch. You know, you need to pay attention to the games they playing on these tablets. You need to be paying attention to everything, their social media, everything, because literally they are already introducing these things. And it was an easy transition to get into witchcraft for this lady here. It was an easy transition because it was already there. It was already laying dormant. That demon was already laying dormant there.
Like have something to play around with. And then I started doing readings and realizing, oh crap, like this is actually, you know, true is a really loaded word, but this is real, right? This is giving me something that I couldn't have gotten without using this particular tool. If you look deeply into any of the major religions, you will see a lot of things that look like magic. Prayer looks a lot like magic. Mass, as somebody who went to...
I'm glad she's actually bringing this part out, that if you look at a lot of these major religions, they are doing rituals. So, you know, she's not seeing a silver lining between what she's doing. She doesn't see nothing wrong with what she's doing. Because when you look at the Roman Catholic Church and they walking around with all these idols and they shaking the dust everywhere, giving reverence to the fallen angels and the gods, when they walking around holding smoke and they holding candles and they're doing mock rituals and all of these kind of things, I'm telling you, a lot of people don't see a silver lining. So they think that it's innocent. Well, I'm here to tell you that the fallen angels are over these institutions and organizations and these religions as well. One thing about the Bible and the word of God, he's not attached to any idols whatsoever. That's how you know it's the truth you're dealing with. The Most High, he shuns and he dismisses all idols. So it is what it is. The Most High God is not attached to no idols or none of these rituals. The only ones in the Bible who were in charge of the rituals, and that's before the remissions of sins. I mean, that's before Christ came for the remissions of sins. That would have been the Levitical priesthood who were in charge for the burnt offerings. But other than that, what you seeing in these churches, witchcraft,
Catholic school, right? That looks a lot like magic. There's a lot of ritual that's involved. There's a lot of indication. I think the difference between witchcraft and these major religions is who are the people who are the sources of power in those religions. Patriarchal institutions have survived and given themselves legitimacy by virtue of being sourced from men. Is this magical practice less rational or less scientifically founded than any of the major religions? No, but because it's historically been practiced by women, because it's historically been practiced by savage and uncivilized people of color, we somehow see it as more suspect than some of the...
You see how she keeps pulling the black card. See, here's the thing. This African spiritualism is on the uptick. There's a lot of people who are involved in African spiritualism. And this is getting real popular. And y'all brothers better watch out, man. A lot of y'all brothers out there, y'all need to watch out, bruh. Telling you right now, a lot of y'all brothers, you see a woman with her little hair wrap, she looking good, she's well-spoken, she seemed to be articulate. She's a pretty sister. Y'all think y'all dealing with a God-fearing, godly, Proverbs 31 woman, and you don't know really what she's into. She really could be into African spiritualism. She really can be doing something behind the scenes. She can have a whole shrine in her house, bro. That's why I'm telling you, brothers, man, you got to know how a woman is living and everything. Because I'm telling you, hey, you go to sleep around her, she take one of your socks, she take a lock of your hair, she take a hair off your bed, and now she done put that hoodoo on you. She done put that hoodoo and that voodoo on you. And better believe a lot of sisters are doing it. Have you head over heels? Have her showing up to her crib 3 a.m. with a rain jacket on, losing your damn mind, bruh. You can't eat, you can't sleep, you can't think. All of a sudden, you getting sleep paralysis, all of that. I'm telling you, bro. Your brothers better be careful. You better find out what God she served. At the very least, find out if that woman is willing to listen to you. Is she willing to follow you? That's the question. You don't want no woman who feels like she is the spiritual authority in a relationship. She needs to look towards you. You need to be able to show her what it is. I don't care, even if she's a quote unquote Christian, if she's overly religious, if she believes that she's the know all be all, and you have to argue with scripture with her, bruh, do not, I repeat, do not deal with that. Don't deal with it. I'm telling you, bro. Let's see. Let's go back here.
The also logically inconsistent rituals that exist in these major religions. I get asked all the time, especially on first dates, because it's in my Tinder bio, right? Like, do you really believe in this stuff? Do you really think it's real? I don't know if it's real, but what I can say is that magic has made my life better. Magic helps me manage my anxiety. Magic has helped me recover from trauma. Magic has helped me feel more
it's all good,
beautiful,
right?
More kind, more compassionate, more like the person.
It's all good right now. You hear that? You hear all the emotions she's saying she feels? You know, she feels good. She feels, confident, no anxiety. Oh man, I'm feeling great. Oh, it's all good right now. It was all good just a week ago. Doom, doom, doom. It was all good just a week ago. Damn. I'm telling you, bro. This is how all witches start off. All witches start off this way until one night. I'm gonna tell you how it's gonna go. I'm gonna tell you how it's gonna go. One night after burning her little sage, one night after doing her little seance, going to the witch shop, Satan's gonna come. He's gonna send his minions. She's gonna be laying up in her bed. Everything gonna be all good. She's gonna be on a natural high, right? She's gonna be laying in her bed, chilling. Next thing you know, her arms are gonna get snatched back. It's gonna feel like there's a beast holding her. She's going to yell out the top of her lungs, and there's going to be a voice shredding through her body that's not hers. It's going to sound like a grown-ass man coming up out of her body. She's going to sound like Barry White yelling. And she's going to see two figures about 10, 11, 12 feet tall standing over her bed, right? And they're going to be snatching her left from right, right to left. And she's going to be petrified. I'm telling you, because she's dealing with demons. She don't even know what she's playing with. Somebody said, get the strap. She ain't even going to be able to get the strap, bro. And I'm telling you, this stuff is deep, bro. Like, I'm going to tell you, it gets deep. Like, even, we speak in regards of the no-fap lifestyle change. Harnessing your energy, being pure, going back to your natural essence and not masturbating. I'm gonna tell you, there's even a form of witchcraft where a lot of these ladies are actually practicing. It's sex magic. There's a form of masturbation where they're actually, while they're doing the act, they have a manifestation journal at hand. And in this manifestation journal, they're channeling the type of man they would want or type of partner they would want. They also do things like say their own name while they're in the act, saying their own name to try to empower themselves and hypersexualize themselves. I mean, these people be doing a lot. They be doing things with their bodily fluids. They be taking the bodily fluids and somebody said obsessize. Yes, I think that's what it's called. Obsessize. Like they're obsessing over themselves. I mean, that's some narcissistic ass behavior, ain't it? You sitting there doing what you do in private, being a little perverted, right? And you taking it as far as to taking it, on your own and calling your own name out. And I'm not. And I'm not here to shame anybody who may have got caught up in any of these practices, because I don't want to shame nobody who got caught up in these practices, because there's women who've been delivered from these things. But every woman who's been delivered from this type of activity, yeah, somebody said drinking them. Oh yeah, it's a lot goes on with the bodily fluids, a lot. Now I'm not here to shame anybody. Let me make this clear, because there's women who all were healed from this. But here's the thing. Every single woman who got out of witchcraft didn't just wake up one day and was like, hey, I'm feeling good. Everything is great. Oh man, I'm just so elevated. I'm operating on this high vibration and everything is good. But you know what? I think I'm going to stop doing this. I think I'm going to go ahead and give my life to Christ. It just don't end that way. It never ends that way. I mean, the Most High always got to shake you up if you want his, or Satan always got to come to collect. So a lot of these women, they always have these very traumatic experiences to why they stop practicing witchcraft, why they stop operating on that side. I'm telling you, and it's usually something terrifying. I done heard a lot of stories. I done heard women throw themselves out of moving cars. I'm talking about I done heard all kinds of horror stories. And I ain't saying no names. I had a sister hit me up talking about she was doing, she started getting into tarot cards, and that's how it started. It started off with tarot cards, and, then she got into divining and enchantment. She started following certain YouTubers who was telling her about crystals and different things of that nature. And then all of a sudden, she had a demonic attack while she was in a passenger seat of a car, and she don't even remember doing it. But while the car was moving, she threw herself out of the car, literally threw herself out of a moving car. So I'm telling you, man, that stuff ain't no joke. A demon's goal is to destroy the vessel that it inhabits. A demon's goal is to destroy the vessel it inhabits, man. I'm telling you now. Man, let's go to these scriptures. Let's go to these scriptures here. Oh, I think it's a couple more seconds of this. Let's play the rest of it. Then I'll pull out the scripts.
That I want to be. So for me and in my life, magic may not be real in this provable way, but it's true.
Oh, see, she's still in disbelief. She don't know if it's real in this provable way, but it feels good, right? It feels good. Yeah, it feels good. Yeah, it feels good right now. You don't really know it's real in a provable sense, but you're going to find out. I wonder where this person is now. This was back in 2018. I need to look her up. I need to look her up to see where she at right now. After that's post-COVID and everything else, I want to see what she's doing in life. Seriously. I'm telling you, that stuff is not to be played with. You playing with demons. You are playing with spirits. You playing with those incubus and those succubus. Let me see. Let me go to some scriptures here. Because, there's a silver lining, man. There's a difference between witchcraft, sorcery, and natural sciences. Hold up, my screen just vanished on me. Hold on, y'all. Y'all gotta bear with me, man. These things be wilding sometimes. Okay, here we go. Right, let's go to some scriptures here. Oh, my fault. Using this MacBook, the buttons are highly sensitive. All right, let's read a couple of scriptures here. And I'm going to start off in Isaiah 47:13. And it reads, let's go to 13 and 14. And it reads, "Thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee." It says, "Thou art worried." Now it's talking about astrologers, not astronomers, astrologers, those who are looking up at the stars, trying to dictate what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. It says the stargazers, gazer, people gazing at the moon, gazing at the sun, gazing at the mirror, gazer, right? The stargazers, the monthly prognosticators. That's when you're looking at your monthly horoscope. Yeah, you looking it up. It says, stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Let's see if you can stand your ass up and save yourself from what's coming to this planet. It says, behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. They shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before. Yeah, let's see if you can stop yourself from judgment. Since you want to look into the future, right? Since you want to know what's going to happen next week, since you want to know what's going to happen next month, since you basing your knowledge and wisdom on this witchcraft and what you can see looking towards the future, let's see if you can stop the flames of the Most High. Let's see if you can even catch them when it comes. Let's see if you can catch it when it comes. Let's continue, man. Hold on. Pull this screen up. Let's go to another screen. Let me read that one more time. Then I'm going to go to another one. Thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels. Let not the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. They shall not be a coal to warm it, fire to sit before it. I'm telling you, that stuff ain't no joke. Better take heed to the warnings of the Most High. Better take heed. Let's continue here. Let's go to, we're going to Isaiah. We went to 14 and 50. Let's go to 12 too. 12, Isaiah 47 and 12 says, stand now with thy enchantment and with the multitudes of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. Now that young lady right there, she's been into it since her youth, right? It says, if so, be thou shalt be able to profit. If so, thou mayest prevail. I should have added that in because that was the verse before. That was the verse before 13 and 14. So it's even talking about the enchanters and sorcerers that's been doing it from their youth. We're talking about established witches. Now let's go to another scripture. Now I want y'all to keep in mind as well that when the Egyptians were going against Moses, Moses of the Levitical priesthood, all the enchanters, magicians, sorceries, all of those people couldn't hold barren to the power of the Most High that was given unto Moses. None of them can stand a chance. That's how we know that these scriptures, the word of God, that's the direction you want to go. Let's go to Deuteronomy 4 and 19. And it reads, unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of the heaven should be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God has divided unto all nations under the whole earth. So that's bringing balance. See, when you see the luminaries, the sun and the moon, when you understand in detail how they move and how they correspond naturally, when you're talking about natural science and how they travel amongst the atmosphere, when it says, when you're worshiping all those things, when you see that, you should be reverencing the Most High. You should worship. That should be a testament to the Most High's creation. That should be a testament to what he created, not you being in awe. Remember, the Bible tells you not to be obsessed, not to be intrigued by the luminaries, not to be intrigued by those things, because the heathens, they look for it. They look at the luminaries with intrigue. They look at the sun as something they should worship. They look at the moon as something they should worship. They look at the stars as something they should worship. When children of the Most High see the stars and the moon, we look at the power of the Most High's creation, especially when you know that all of these luminaries work in intricate details to create this colossal planet that we live in, and everything works in one accord. But, you know, it is what it is, man. I wanted to come through and drop this knowledge. I see some comments up in here. Yeah, I see some comments. Let's see what y'all got to say. I've been running my mouth long enough. The all right guy says Deuteronomy 12:5, but you are to seek the habitation of your father, the house of Yahweh, the place which Yahweh your father shall choose out of all tribes to establish. All right, I got you. Let's see what else we got up in here. This is my YouTube. Don't come at me trying to judge who is you. What the hell you talking about? Now leave me alone. Okay. All right, let's see what else somebody said, well, you did your thing today, brother. All praises to the Most High. I'm glad you was edified. These damn spam people calling. All these damn spam callers. Let's see. Let's see what else we got up in here. Yeah, somebody says, so stop venerating idols. No one could save you but the Most High. Yeah, you got to stop venerating idols. Facts, though. I say, good job. The ways of the Most High shall reign. Yeah, absolutely. Courtney said this was a deep teaching. Thank you. I appreciate it. Amazing lesson. For real. That's what's up. Are there any questions regarding this particular topic? I wanted to leave no stone unturned. Somebody said, everything we watched growing up was a form of witchcraft. That's a fact, though. Yep. Somebody said the show Charm. Yeah, all kind of shows. Somebody said this is the most edifying channel on YouTube. Absolutely. I agree. Let YouTube know that by hitting the thumbs up button, by sharing these videos. All praises to the Most High. We had 1,100 plus people in the room off the early morning. Blessings. You know, this is the Sabbath lesson for the day. What was that video on music you played? I announced it at the beginning. Yeah, somebody said, after you search CERN, look up Pastor Stephen Darby. He is no longer with us. He left for work concerning what's going on in Switzerland. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all smash the like button up. We got to make sure that the likes are starting to match the views, y'all, because I am under a shadow ban. I'm under a shadow ban for whatever reason. Thank you for the great content today as well. I'm going to play it back since I caught this late. All praises. Blessings. I'm glad everybody enjoyed the stream. Follow me on Patreon for exclusive content. The link is in the description box. Also follow me on Instagram at newbreed404. If you would like to contribute to this work via cashapp, 10% of all contributions go back to the people for small bills, gas money, grocery money, etc., medical supplies, etc. All right. I do give back to the people. So when you're supporting my content, you're supporting people who may be in need as well. I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for coming through. I hope y'all have a blessed afternoon. With that being said, shalom and peace.